The topic of Salesforce reports and dashboards and the related aspect of who sees what when such reports and dashboards are created is tackled quite a bit in the Platform Administrator exam and also in the Platform App Builder exam. And there are plenty of aspects with this that can lead to confusion. And what I'm going to demonstrate now by showing you aspects of this in a playground is how it works with regards to who can see a report and or a dashboard by virtue of the folder access they have. And then if they have the folder access, when they can open the report and or the dashboard, what exactly can they see in terms of the data? Okay, let's get started. I'm logged into a standard playground that I spun up from Trailhead. And I have used this for other things before, but it just has a fairly standard selection of Salesforce data. I've clicked on opportunities and you can see the typical playground opportunity selection. There are 34 of them and I'm the owner of most of them, but we've got another user here called Ezra Mustang who owns 3 opportunities, which I can see as system administrator, and they're all closed won and they add up to a total revenue of £200,000. Ezra Mustang is a member of the Western sales team and he has the custom sales profile, and I just cloned it, gave him that profile to take him over and above the minimum access that he had originally. And the only change that I made to that was gave him access to the Lightning experience. The other thing relevant to this demonstration is that the sharing settings for opportunities have been set to private. So whilst he is in the role hierarchy and he ultimately reports to me because my role has been set as CEO and as system administrator, I obviously see all opportunities, but he only sees his own, as I will show. In another browser, I'm simultaneously logged in as Ezra, and his opportunities are here. There's just those 3 of them, all closed won, up to a value of 200,000. I created some opportunity-based reports, and they all sit in a folder of Global Sales Team. The Global Sales Team folder has a sharing setup like this. So the folder is set up to share with the all internal users public group at this point, and they can only view. There is a global sales folder for the one dashboard that we have. It too is shared with all internal users through public group. So on that basis, all internal users can see the reports that I've made that I have put in this folder and the dashboard that I've made that put in the respective folder under the dashboards tab. What's happening to the dashboards and the respective opportunity reports is really what's at heart here, and that I want to show the differences when it comes to running user. If I select this dashboard, it's a very simple one. There's only 2 widgets in it, and it's got opportunities by stage fed by a report called opportunities by stage. So it literally is just a record count of all the opportunities. I'm just going to click refresh to make sure it has captured them all. Okay, I've refreshed the dashboard. Opportunities that are closed won, there's 21 of those. And in this widget here, we've got the total revenue across all opportunities, irrespective of whether they're won or lost. And it comes to a total of 5.96 million, as you can see. The reports that feed those widgets in that dashboard are here. So we've got the opportunities by stage, which is set up as such, and the opportunities by account, which is set up as such. That comprises of 34 records, of which all bar 3 of them are mine. And here is the Western sales team, Ezra Mustang's collection in this report showing up here. This report's unfiltered. It just shows all opportunities at all time and any status. This is the report that feeds the widget that shows the total revenue in the pipeline, whether closed or open. This report, Opportunities by Stage, is the one that feeds the vertical bar graph. So returning to the dashboard, there's 21 close won opportunities and a variety of opportunities in other stages. And this shows a mix of all owners. Of note then, I have set this in the properties of this dashboard to view the dashboard as me, as a fixed user, as opposed to another person, or as opposed to a dynamic dashboard where it would be viewed through the lens of whoever is the logged in running user. The data that is displayed here is all company data in the opportunities, and this figure here is the aggregate of all those opportunities by those various owners, of which of course there are only two. Now let's have a look to see how Ezra can see this data. So I'm logged in as Ezra Mustang in exactly the same organization. And if we go and have a look at all opportunities, because the sharing is private, he can only see his own. He cannot see mine. But if we go to dashboards and we see what he can see on the dashboard, he sees exactly what I see on the dashboard. This is the aggregate there. So he is viewing this dashboard as Bill Ward. And he gets a temporary pass, if you like, to see, albeit in aggregated form, data that he wouldn't ordinarily be able to see because, say I'm the sales manager, or in this case I'm the CEO at the top of the tree, I want all internal users to have the very high level overview of opportunities in their stages and opportunities by account with the aggregate value. But, and here is the critical but, when the user who is logged in tries to drill down into the reports that feed, they're not going to see that same level of data. Their data is now going to be filtered down to what their permissions and sharing settings will allow. So let's demonstrate that. I'm going to click on the underlying report for this data here, and lo and behold, he does not see any of my opportunities in there. It's focused down onto just what his own. He's able to see at high level aggregate because we have a use case to say we want the team to see at the aggregate level this broader view, but when drilling down, they're back to where they should be. If I was to go back to the dashboard and drill in on the staging, the feeding report there is exactly the same. Obviously, I'm viewing it as me, but if I click on here, I'm afforded the full sight of the report with everything that it contains. And the same would be true if I did this into the other widget, and it shows the total value there. So in summary, when a user is viewing a report, they're never able to see more than what their permissions and sharing settings, their security, if you like, allows them to do. But there are situations where they may be able to see in overview level on a dashboard, if they've been given access through the folder to the dashboard, they can view the dashboard as a fixed user that has been set. And in this case, it's the CEO dashboard, and the CEO has decided that there is this aggregate data that he wants people to see, which in this case is all internal users. So back here in Ezra's login, in the global sales team report folder, we have the two reports, and we've already clicked in, so that we know that he only sees his own three opportunities of a value of 200,000. Let's say though, we want to turn this dashboard into a dynamic dashboard, which means it's viewed through the eyes of the person that's logged in and the data is filtered in that same sense. We'll set the properties and I'll just make it a dynamic dashboard. So it's the dashboard viewer that will be the running user. We'll click save and click done. Now that doesn't change anything from me. And as I'm the one logged in, I'm viewing it as Bill Ward. But if I go to Ezra's instance and pull up the dashboard, log in or open the dashboard, now you can see the dynamic aspect has kicked in and he's viewing as Ezra Mustang. And the two widgets present very different data. They present his 3 closed-won opportunities. That's it. That's all he can see. And the value, which is the 200,000. So the beauty of the dynamic dashboard is that if you want that kind of dashboard where you're not looking to present to anybody a overview, aggregate thing, which is something that a senior management might want an overall team to see, or a CEO might want to present and have available to company as a whole, you can make a dynamic dashboard so that each and every person will see it through their own lens, and that they can use that to understand how they're getting on against their own targets, against whatever it is that they need to see. And that saves an admin from having to make multiple dashboards for different individuals or different groups of people. Now I'm going to do something slightly different, which I'm going to change access to the folder. So I'm not going to change things like running user or anything. We'll leave that as is. But if I change access to the folder, you will then observe a big difference. This is the sharing with regards to the dashboard folder. I'm going to take away the internal users. What I've done now is that I've changed the sharing on this dashboard folder so that it is with the Eastern sales team. And as we know, Ezra is in the Western sales team, and he's not going to be able to see it anymore. At least that's what I'm hoping to show. So we'll click done on that, and we'll go and do the same to the reports folder, which is the global sales one. In the reports folder, and I'm setting up that to share with the Eastern sales team. Click done, and I'm just going to refresh that to ensure that it catches. Going to Ezra's login, it says you need permission to view this report. He's basically unable to do that now. If I go to reports and have a look at folders, I can't see any folders. That folder is not available. Same again on the dashboard side. So those are the layers that control access to reports and dashboards. It's primarily through the folder. If you have a set of keys to open the folder, then you can see the reports inside in some form. It may be view only, it may be edit, or if you're afforded the ability to do so, you may be able to manage. But that has to be given to you. You can't just take it. Then, now you've got access to the folder, what is it that you can see when inside the folder? If it's a report, irrespective of who created the report, you will only ever be able to see the report through the lens of the security in terms of profile and permissions and record access that you have anywhere else across sales and or service applications that you might be using as a user. But when it comes to a dashboard, again, to be able to get access to the dashboard, if you have keys to the folder, you can go into the folder, see the dashboard, just as I described for reports. But when you open the dashboard, if the running user has been set as a fixed user to someone higher than you in the organization that then has pulled in more aggregate data, you will see more aggregate data in that instance than you would ordinarily be able to do. But that is by design, because it's something that there is a use case to justify that, but the security protections kick in straight away when you try to drill down into any of the reports that feed the widgets in the dashboard, and that the security filtering kicks in straight away. So hopefully that is a useful run through of how reports and dashboards work in this respect.